One of the things I didn't mention earlier in this extravaganza that I did a couple of times before, just appreciate the opportunity that we have here in front of us, what Amazon is doing. And I have a magazine. I brought it. It was a Business Week a few months ago, and on the front of it is Jeff Bezos with his caricature and his big laugh. It was talking about Amazon Air, but when you dig into it, all the things that are going on. But just as a reminder, last spring, he went out and leased 20 767 aircraft. So, and again, according to him, not to compete with Federal Express and UPS, but all the growth and the things kind of unique and special that he wanted to do that under aircraft that he had control of, as opposed to just outsourcing that to FedEx and UPS. And for those from Ohio, there is DHL was in one of the smaller cities around there someplace. Was it Dayton? Yeah, and so he went in and he essentially grabbed all that, and that's going to be his base of operations for all the stuff that he's doing out of there. They've also got a license. You have to have a license to be able to put containers on ocean ships to go across the water. And so they got a license so that he can actually have Amazon containers full of stuff that they're bringing in and, disembarking at the various ports. They've also, I actually saw the first ad on TV last night. Has anybody seen Amazon Fashions ads on TV? That's their private label that they're getting into. And then, of course, I know a number of us have talked about it, but Amazon Now, where you can actually get the service, get the product in 2 hours. And quietly for a while, they were essentially doing a deal with Uber. And so Uber drivers could get a message and said, hey, somebody just bought something using Amazon Now, and if you're close to the fulfillment center, go by, pick it up, and take and drop it off to them. But I hear that they're trying to create their own version of that. So, there's just a lot happening that's just creating opportunities for us. And then I come to events like this, and as I try to say to Ann, I never want to miss an event. And on Thursday, Friday with the sourcing workshop, that was my fourth time sitting through the sourcing workshop. And Brian and Josie, they just keep getting better and better and better. I love it. And I'm going to keep coming back to them. They are great. Me too. Thank you. So keep kicking me in the rear end, okay? Will you please? All right. And let me just jump ahead since I've mentioned both of you. Brian, I just, as part of expecting the big things, I got to keep saying, Brian's been my coach the last year or so as part of the EMP program. And you give $1 million coaching advice. And I just want to thank you for that. It has been outstanding. And I just chuckle many times as I'm out doing things. I just remember, Brian said this, Brian said that. It's outstanding. And Josie, I mentioned to you in the hallway a little bit, but you are an inspiration, not just for many women, I'm sure, but for all of us. And I reference you many times to people about what you're doing. I just say to people, I wish there were more Josies around, but you need to get out and get in front of that sector of people that I was talking about, because they would really, really benefit from what you're doing. It's outstanding. Outstanding. All right, and I learn something every time that I come to those, and I made a list of things that I took away from Thursday and Friday in the sourcing workshop. There's always something to learn, and it's fantastic. Now, the 3-day event, the e-commerce sourcing summit, Saturday and Sunday, outstanding. But I just want to jump to today because we had this conversation, and I know John and I think Ed kind of made reference to it. Every person that came to our table, there was a different theme and topic that we discussed, and it was just amazing. Just amazing. I went and looked at my note. I just wrote down a few points from every one of you that came to our table, and it was on something different. And just look at the wealth of knowledge that's in this room with these people. It is just fantastic. Now, when you go to a sense of community, Cindy, I was fortunate enough, I sat with her at lunch after she presented on Saturday. We had our lunch on Saturday. And she said, this is just a wonderful group of people. She says, yeah, it was just so great to be up in front and the people that I met and everything. Now, Chris Green, I I had been following Chris Green. I use ScanPower, his tool, and I bought his books. And when he came in, I went and introduced myself. We talked a little bit, and it was over. I walked out with him as he was going with Isaiah to go to the airport. And he just stood there and he said, "This is the greatest group of people." And he goes to a lot of events. He just goes to a lot of, he says, "This is just outstanding." He was just, man, oh man. He was just kind of beaming ear to ear. And he said, he hears people talking about this group. And it's just, in a positive way, saying great things. And he was happy to experience it. And it was the same thing. And then Peter from Kick Further. I mean, we've got an email already saying actually from corporate back in Boulder, saying that the word's gotten back, what a great event it was, and the interest level that people have had, and all those kinds of things. So not only do we come and learn a lot, but people have said it many times. It's you, the people. We're all part of this community, and people recognize that. It is very, very, very powerful. Let me just highlight just a couple other things here before I kind of wrap up. All right. On Thursday, Friday, in the sourcing workshop, Brian and Josie, when you sit and think about what is going on and the opportunities that we have and the ability, you walk through the 5 pillars, the 5 factors to find the products. You kind of step back and you think of stuff that people want to buy, and how do you figure out what that stuff is and how you're going to make money off of it and where you can get it from, whether it's domestically, whether it's a wholesaler at ASD or overseas. And then you look, where can I sell it? Not only just domestically here, but with all the programs coming on with the international expansion. So you got stuff coming from all over, and they have the opportunity to sell it all over. And then you look at just the things that you can do just by yourself or with a small team of people you put together. I made the comment yesterday as part of a little bit of introduction to myself, having spent 10 years in Silicon Valley working with companies in the startup industry, and then actually was recruited away and helped start a software company. The company, and I think I may have said this, was a competitor to eBay, and we were doing B2B kinds of things, which is where Amazon's kind of starting to get into. But when I step back and I think of, it took about 100 people and $5 million a month budget to do the kinds of things that 1 or 2 of us can do today with a lot of stuff that doesn't cost very much. It is just amazing what's going on. Okay, now there's a yin and yang to all of that. The great things for us is that we can do that. The challenge is a lot of people that used to do those things no longer have jobs. So there's this huge transformation that's going on. And but before I get into that, let me just say, I sat back and I said several times on Thursday and Friday, I wake up in the morning and go to sleep at night just thanking the dear Lord and counting my lucky stars that we found this opportunity and this community. Because the upside for us of what we can be able to do is just unlimited. It really is unlimited. And what did somebody tell me the other day? Don't tell me that the sky's the limit when there are footprints on the moon. Okay? It is unlimited what we can do. So I just wanted to say, I hope you have the same appreciation of what that is. And I will just say this as a challenge. I've been very fortunate to have met a number of you, and I'm sure a few of you I still haven't had a chance to shake your hand. But this is a very, very talented group of people. And the power of our community, there is no reason, if I haven't said it, there is no reason everyone here cannot at least be a 6-figure Amazon seller. And I will say that there will be a number of people that will get to a 7-figure Amazon seller sometime within 3 to 5 years. It is just, okay, you got it, all right? So now let me just kind of wrap up with just a couple of things, the point I was making about the yin and the yang. And again, there is the power of the community. So a lot of us have been involved in other home business kind of related industries. And a key part of making the compensation in those models was recruiting other people into the business. And some people were okay with it. Some people weren't okay with it. Some people did good with it. Some people didn't. All right. And a lot of it was just not necessarily maybe being a total believer in what the offering was or what the business was all about. But there is no reason to have any of those concerns in this type of activity when you sit and thinking about it. And then when you kind of look big picture, and this is what I kind of wanted to wrap up with, and I mean this all to be a very, very, very positive thing. It may not seem that way when it first comes out, but roll with it a little bit, okay? There are 95 million-ish people, unemployed, underemployed, or just stopped looking for work. There are 10,000 people a day for the next 17-ish years that are retiring, and they're not financially ready to retire. And due to all this disruption in technology that's going on, there are forecasts that in the next 10 years, 50% of the Fortune 500 companies will be out of business. Now that's a lot of people looking for something to do. That's our opportunity. You just think about what we're doing, what's going on. It is just very easy to just sit down with people. I mean, people are going to come up to you and say, "What are you doing?" Say, "What were we joking about, Ed? I've got two signs on my car. One side says Mike's sourcing business, and the other side says Mike's shipping business." So it's like Mary Kay Cosmetics or whatever. I've got it's not a pink Cadillac, but I've got my car with my signs on it driving around. Anyway, but what are you doing? It's very easy and natural just to sit there and say to people what you're doing, and you can show results. And people say, "Well, how can I learn to do that?" I get people asking me that all the time. And, just introduce them to this opportunity. It is just tremendous. So, again, it's been a great time. Thank you all very much. I enjoyed meeting everybody, and never miss an event, okay?